You're live.
Good afternoon, Houston. I'm KHOU 11 meteorologist Kim Castro. We are tracking severe storms for this afternoon. And right now, a brand new severe thunderstorm warning for Harris County. It lasts until 1:30, and I suspect we're going to get additional warnings as this batch of strong storms continues to push towards the southeast. What am I seeing right now on radar? We're seeing some rain starting to filter into the Heights area. Right now, it's in the northwestern portion of the loop along 290, just east of Cypress. We're seeing some heavy downpours, but the main line is just north of there. That's what's going to drop in. Some gusty wind. Radar indicated 60-mile-an-hour winds, and we could see some damaging hail. So hail that could cause issues to any property you have outside, like your car. So we want to give you a heads up as this line of storms is pushing towards the southeast, so you can make those preparations before this passes through. Now, my main advice is once we start to see this getting into your neighborhood, then it's time to just hunker down. Make sure you've got that phone, the tablet, however you're watching this live stream with you, so you could get updates as to how the storms are progressing and when they'll move out of your neighborhood. But you'll notice a number of different severe thunderstorm warnings. These are all moving towards the southeast, slightly different speeds, but they all pack the same ingredients, which is, again, the gusty wind and the threat for some hail. So let me time out this main batch that has Harris County under that severe thunderstorm warning. So when could you see impacts to your neighborhood? In the Woodlands happening now. So if you start to see and feel the wind outside, just stay inside. Go to an interior space. The reason that we say that is when we have this gusty wind, it's not out of the question we could see a tree branch snap and go through the window, for example. And if you're not protected in interior space, like a closet, then you could have some damage and you could be in danger from any glass or things that might start breaking in your surroundings. Spring area, you will have some impacts by about 105, Cypress by about 120, and then we'll continue to go closer towards Atascocita by 130, and then it's timing out to head to downtown by about 2 o'clock. Now, you will start to see some showers developing in downtown ahead of this main line, but I'm talking about the threat for the gusty wind. So that will get towards the downtown area by 2 o'clock, 212 Mont Bellevue, and then by 225 in the Sugarland area. Now, taking a look at some of the hail signatures, what's happening right now near Jersey Village along 290 between Cypress and Jersey Village is small. So maybe marble-sized hail, pea-sized hail at best. I think some of that's melting before reaching the ground. It's these storms that we're watching headed south by about 2 o'clock, like I mentioned, downtown, that give me a little bit more of a pause. So I-45, Huntsville to New Waverly, we're seeing some hail signatures that could indicate the potential of golf ball size to even upwards of tennis ball sized hail with these storms that are developing. Here's the hail tracks of the last 2 hours. So they've flourished quickly, and instead of pushing towards the east like they were prior, they're starting to dip down towards the south. So Conroe area, seeing some of that heavier hail cores, and then pushing towards the Spring area here in a couple of minutes. Again, severe thunderstorm warning now extended. Actually, this is another severe thunderstorm warning pushing towards the east. So there's a couple of them that I'm watching. The one that's in Chapel Hill, that one lasts until 1 o'clock. You'll notice that particular storm system is starting to weaken. So because these are moving rather quickly, I'm going to give this update in both English and in Spanish, just in the interest of reaching the most people that I can and the shortest amount of time and in the most concise way. So let me start over with that Harris County severe thunderstorm warning. So that's a loop over the last 6 hours. I'm going to make this loop a little shorter just so you could see what's happening right here, right now. So there we are. We're seeing that line of storms filling in rather quickly, and the main impacts right now along I-45, the North Freeway. So from Conroe to Spring, we're seeing that deep purple that could signal some of these larger hail cores starting to develop. So en Spanish, estamos bajo un aviso de tormenta severa. Tenemos riesgos de ver un granizo medio grande de tamaño de una pelota de golfo hasta una pelota de tenis. También tenemos estos riesgos de ver unas ráfagas fuertes, impactos de 60 millas por hora. Entonces, por eso, si es que usted vive en el centro de la ciudad, tiene un poco de tiempo hasta que esta línea de tormentas alcance a su vecindad, a su hogar. Entonces, si es que tiene un carro que está afuera, muévelo ahora. Tiene dentro de 1 hora hasta que lleguen estas tormentas. Ya que lleguen, no se vaya afuera. Cuando están pasando esas tormentas, entre a un lugar seguro de su hogar, alejada de las paredes de su hogar, por si es que se rompe algo en su extremo, que no rompa un vidrio de su cuarto y no le cause que tenga alguna lesión o algo así. Entonces, métase a un lugar central de su casa para protegerse contra estos vientos fuertes. Este aviso de tormenta severa hasta las 1:30, pero ya que veo la intensidad de estas tormentas, es muy posible que sigan avanzando. Entonces, si es que está, por ejemplo, en la área de Baytown, es la misma advertencia que tengo para ustedes. So what I just said in Spanish, in case you're just joining us here on the live stream, we're under a severe thunderstorm warning. This is for Harris, Liberty, and Montgomery, in addition to Polk County. So encompasses a big swath of us. It's from these storms that are starting to push towards the south. So they developed near Huntsville. They were tracking towards the east, but have now met up with the sea breeze, so they're starting to tank down along I-45. So from Conroe to Spring right now, I'm seeing some signatures of hail. I'm also seeing some signatures of some gusty wind. If you're in the downtown area, the main impact from this line of storms, I think, is about maybe 45 minutes away from you. So if you have a little bit of time to, in case you maybe parked outside, and you can move your car to a garage because of that threat of some hail, I would go ahead and do that. You have the threat for damage from that and the threat for some damage from the gusty wind. So radar is indicating gusts at 60 miles an hour. So that could very well knock out some branches, especially some of those trees that are already really vulnerable from the storms that we had about 2 weeks ago. So just keep that in mind. We've got this particular warning until 1:30. However, if these storms continue to hold together, they'll continue to push towards the south and towards the southeast. And right now we're seeing indications that they're weakening a little bit, but they certainly have enough strength to continue to bring us that concern for hail. So here's the hail tracks of the last 2 hours. I'm going to pause it right there. So now we're starting to see some larger hail just west of Conroe. So hail cores there, I would say, could be up to that tennis ball size that we have that severe thunderstorm warning for. Spring area just to the west, so near Klein, you're seeing some indications of maybe quarter to up to golf ball sized hail. And some of that hail is pushing into the Beltway. So still north of Jersey Village, but because these storms are pushing south, we could start to see some of those hail impacts here affecting Jersey Village and then eventually headed down Spring Valley, headed towards the Heights. Again, these are areas that still have a lot of cleanup underway, so we just want to give you as much of a heads up as we possibly can. Let me look at a reflectivity to see what the wind looks like right now. So yeah, I'm seeing some pretty bright signatures with that line that's pushing through. So right now, Shenandoah to Conroe, you see the turquoise right there? So that's exactly what we're seeing from that severe thunderstorm warning. So the warning is for wind up to 70 miles an hour. And reflectivity showing us at least 60 mile an hour winds in those bright turquoise spots. So right where that line has its defining edge. So there it is. The threat for a spin up, a tornado, is low. And I'm not seeing any couplets here. However, I'll keep a close eye along the line. The threat is low, but it's not zero. I think the main threat with this storm system is, again, that big barrier front, basically, a big dividing air mass collision that creates the really gusty wind. So what happened is there were storms in Dallas earlier this morning, and we saw a big outflow boundary from them. So that's the loop over the last 3 hours. I'm going to loop it back over the last 6 hours, kind of clean this up a little bit, take some of those watches off, just so you can kind of understand where this threat came from. So we had to watch these storms closely because this type of setup is really conditional, meaning if we start to see some definition, which we did right there, maybe about 2 hours ago, these storms can definitely use up all the energy we have out there, which is the humidity and the heat, because the outflow is the remnants of these storms. So it drops down this cooler pool of air, which then clashes with the very hot and humid air we have here, and it creates a scenario, the recipe for severe thunderstorms. So that's what we're going to be watching throughout the afternoon. We have got a severe thunderstorm watch through 6 o'clock. And right now, an active warning, which means you need to take action. So here's where we're seeing the meeting up of the storm. So now I'm going to drop the loop to the last hour so we could keep up with what we're seeing right now. So very, very saturated with lightning. So I'm going to take that off actually so you could see inside the storm. So you'll notice where those two kind of lines clash. This is the main leading edge of the wind, the hail, and it's starting to meet up with another batch here. That's the sea breeze. So both of these are consolidating right now, coalescing, and they're creating one big batch of storms. So from Spring to Conroe, we're seeing rainfall rates that are very high. So torrential downpours, lots of flashes of lightning. Just for that alone, you should be inside. But the threat of 70-mile-an-hour wind gust and hail that could be at 1.75 inches, that's another component that makes it dangerous to be in outside too. So again, this warning lasting for Montgomery and Walker until 1 o'clock, but then the warning that drops down into Harris County that lasts until 1:30. And that's just going to be the scenario throughout the afternoon. So these severe thunderstorm warnings will likely continue to get extended, eventually dropping into downtown and then pushing into Brookside Village, pushing into League City until we watch these storms move off towards Galveston. Let's check a velocity again. So anytime we see those bright turquoise spots, that's where we see the very gusty wind. So still seeing radar indicated, I'd say 60 to 70 miles an hour for the threat with this line of storms that's pushing through. So those 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts right now pushing into Porter Heights here soon. So let me put another track on this and show you when your particular neighborhood is going to be affected. So we'll go like this, and this is really moving towards the south. So the immediate impact areas right now, the airport in about 20 minutes, Humble by about 1:21, Atascocita in about 30 minutes, and then Spring Valley in about 35 minutes. And let me widen this out even more so you can get an idea of when, in case you're working downtown, or maybe you live in the Heights, you live Memorial. Okay, so there's yeah, I think a lot of the impacts will be more so on the east side of the loop in the Beltway. Regardless, we're going to see these storms drop into the downtown area. So there's another timestamp for you to keep in mind. So Spring area, seeing the impacts right now. The big airport, Bush Intercontinental, going to see the impacts in about 20 minutes. Hunters Creek by about 1:43 downtown, just before 2 o'clock. Missouri City, right around 2 o'clock. Baytown by about 2:24. So again, these storms moving fairly quickly. I think the main impacts are going to be until about 5 o'clock. I think by 5 they're pushing towards the coastline, but until then it's a good idea to have your phone handy for if we see any other severe criteria come out of these storms. But for now, in case you're just joining us, Harris County the northern portion of it. So the northern portion of the Beltway. So this stretches right now all the way into Jersey Village, just north of Hawthorne Place. So this includes the airport, this includes Aldine, this includes Coralville, Spring seeing the impacts right now. And it includes a chunk of the Heights too, at least the northern Heights. You are under a severe thunderstorm warning until 1:30. And in case you have a bilingual household, están bajo un aviso de tormenta severa hasta la 1:30 de la tarde si es que viven en estas áreas, si es que vive cerca de Spring, cerca del aeropuerto, si es que vive en Jersey Village. Tienen los riesgos de ver ráfagas de 60 millas por hora y tienen riesgos de ver granizo hasta 1 pulgada. Entonces eso significa que tiene que tener cuidado. Si es que está en estas áreas que están afectadas ahorita mismo, manténganse dentro de su casa. Si es que por si acaso están en downtown y van a anticipar esas tormentas, hagan sus preparaciones para proteger su propiedad. Eso significa si es que se parqueó, se estacionó en un lugar que no está cubierto, mueva su carro para que le pueda proteger si es que tenemos una tormenta que trae ese granizo grande. So what I just said in Spanish is, if you're in this warned area right now, or we're seeing impacts right now, stay inside, stay with me on your phone. We'll watch these storms pass through. Now, if you're, let's say at the airport, you're not seeing the main impact just yet, and you wanted to move your car because we have the threat for hail, you can go ahead and do that, say for the next 10 minutes or so. Other than that, just stay inside and ride out the storm. Because of the wind and because of the threat for hail, you don't want to be outside, and you certainly don't want to be in any exterior space of your home. So try to be away from the windows. If we do see a tree branch snap and it gets carried by the wind, it could crack your window. It could, lead to some injury by just way of proximity. So if you could just stay inside as these storms pass through. Let me have a look at what the hail tracks are doing right now. So hail over the last 2 hours has looked like this, so it's pretty significant. Let me do hail now. Okay. So it looks better than it did over the last 2 hours. So again, this is what it looked like over the last 2 hours. This is hail now. So we do have a signature of some larger hail from Shenandoah, so from the Woodlands, just north of Spring. Chateau Woods. Maybe seeing hail that's anywhere between golf ball size to tennis ball size. So when we see the reflectivity radar picking up on some purple like that, that's where we have the threat for that larger hail, maybe more than an inch, maybe closer to 2. So that's an area where you want to be inside right now. Now, if you're closer to the airport, notice no hail signatures there, which is why I mentioned let's say you were headed on a flight maybe in the next few minutes and you were trying to decide if at Eco Park you should park in the uncovered or covered lot. There's your answer, covered space, because one of the big threats with the severe storms today is the potential for hail. I'm gonna just give you some of the warnings that we have with today's severe weather, show you future track, and then I'll come back to radar to do another timestamp on where we could see some of these storms getting into your neighborhood. So right now we're under a severe thunderstorm watch. So we have active warnings, which means take action now. Those are the ones I just showed you. But all of us are under a severe thunderstorm watch, means we need to be ready to take action. If we do see that warning continue to be extended closer to where you live. So closer to downtown, to Richmond, to Sugar Land, we could see those warnings drop south towards you. We're under that threat until 6 o'clock. Estamos bajo un aviso, una alerta de unas tormentas severas hasta las 6 de la tarde. Eso significa que necesita estar preparado para tomar acción si es que vemos que esas tormentas que están más fuertes se continúan avanzando al sur. In addition to the threat for severe storms, or rather I should say, what are the components of the severe storms? Hail and some very gusty wind. Notice the severe threat level today is pretty high. It's a level 3 on the 1 to 5 scale. And this encompasses the majority of Southeast Texas. This includes all of Harris County. Entonces, nuestro riesgo de tormentas severas hoy es medio alto. Estamos en la categoría 3 del 1 al 5. Esto incluye la mayoría del sureste de Texas e incluye todo el condado de Harris. Los riesgos predominantes serán esas ráfagas fuertes de 65 hasta 85 millas por hora y el granizo grande que podrá crecer hasta 2 pulgadas, quizás hasta 3 también. Now I want to talk about future track because I want you to see this as where the storms advance. Don't pay attention to the time. We know these storms are here already and it's 1 o'clock. Radar had these storms, future track radar had these storms developing at 3. So we're going to have to take the timestamp and subtract 2 hours from that. So that's where we are right now. I think it gets to downtown by about 2 to 3. So in the next hour, maybe 2 hours, we'll see these storms passing through the loop, exiting the beltway, and then making their way towards the coastline by about 5 o'clock. Let me do that again in Spanish. Ok. Tomen en cuenta que estas tormentas ahorita están... Oh, you know what? I think we have some new information there. And I got my IFB back in case I have a producer with me. Okay, so we just got new information that we've got 11,000 power outages. So that was one of the big risk factors with the threat for some strong winds. So that's what we're tracking right now. We'll continue to watch this number. So it looks like customers affected, from this storm system over the last 24 hours, 11,000. So these are new outages. I know some people may still be without power. However, new outages, 11,000. Talking about the timing in Spanish, estas tormentas ahorita se están ubicadas en el norte de nuestra área. Entonces, si es que vive en el centro de la ciudad, están en Conroe, pero se fija que es la 1 de la tarde y este modelo nos dicen que estas tormentas están ahí a las 3. Entonces, lo que tenemos que hacer es sumar, o más bien dicho, subtractar 2 horas. Entonces van avanzando al centro de la ciudad tipo 2, 3 de la tarde y se van yendo hacia la costa a las 5 de la tarde. So the storms are a little bit faster than the models are projecting, but the threats are still the same. So the biggest threat is going to be damaging wind, is going to be large hail, and the potential for some localized street flooding. So a couple of these storms definitely have a lot of juice. I'll be watching future track rain totals and how much rain we've had so far here in a moment, but let me walk you through the wind threat first. So again, wind risk today, 65 to 85 miles an hour. We've already received a report of the airport in Huntsville that recorded a wind gust of 67 miles an hour. So close to that 70 mile an hour threshold, which is what the warning was talking to us about. La posibilidad de ráfagas fuertes será desde 65 millas por hora hasta 85. Ya vimos una ráfaga en la área de Huntsville que llegó cerca a 70 millas por hora. Entonces ese será el riesgo que continuamos a ver ya que esas tormentas van avanzando al centro de la ciudad. Hail threat is also there, especially in this hatched area. That's where we could see an isolated 2 to 3 inches with a particular storm that pops. Notice all of Harris County is in that hatched area. El riesgo de ese granizo grande nos incluye en el condado de Harris. Entonces podremos ver una tormenta que nos da dentro de 2 hasta 3 pulgadas de granizo. So what should you do if you're watching this live stream and let's say you're in downtown, so you still have some time to prepare? Just charge your phone, charge your iPad, however you get updates. Make sure you're able to do that throughout the day, at least until 6 o'clock, until that severe thunderstorm watch expires. That way, if we see something specific to your neighborhood, we can go ahead and warn you. And then, of course, we're tracking power outages because with the gusty wind, that's just something that we have to monitor. So going back to the neighborhood by neighborhood forecast here, I want to queue up some more areas that are being impacted right now. And my producer just told me that we have a shot at south of Springs. Okay, this is Aldine Bender, I-45 North, the North Freeway. Seeing, oh wow, yeah, some gusty wind, definitely frequent lightning, heavy rain. It looks like the camera just went out. But you saw that so the camera went out and you saw that the sky really darkened. So these storms definitely have a lot of strength, very kind of reminiscent of the big barreling effect that we get with straight line wind. So frequent lightning shows these storms continue to hold their strength. I'm not seeing a huge bowing out, which is good. However, they certainly have a lot of composure and a lot of gusto as they're pushing through. So that's why we'll continue to watch the threat for severe wind impacts. I'm going to queue up, and let me double check and make sure that these are still moving at around 30 miles an hour so I could give you an adequate, up-to-date track for when the storms could get to your neighborhood. Okay. So these storms in Liberty County are moving a little bit faster. Downtown, moving at around, anywhere between 35 to 40 miles an hour. And a local storm report for Cold Spring, 58 miles an hour. Another local storm report. There's a large tree down. This is, so the wind is going to certainly have impacts to power outages, impacts to vegetation. Some trees are being reported down. Let me look at some storm tracks just to see if there's any storm reports that we've gotten. These are going to start to come in likely after the storm passes. Yeah, okay, no storm reports. Oh, there's a couple windstorm reports. Okay. So let's look at some of those. Okay. So there's that 58 mile an hour wind that we're talking about in Cold Spring. In Huntsville, I'm guessing that's a 67 mile an hour wind gust. Yep, 67 mile an hour wind gust. And looks like that is it for the local storm reports so far. Okay, let's get some tracks here. So this is right on the heels of downtown. So right now, North Houston, let's look at the hail now. Okay, yeah, that's a big hail signature. Okay, so North Houston, West Road, along 249. We just received a report from a producer near Lowetta, marble-sized hail, and Fallbrook Drive to Champion Forest Drive, Veterans Memorial Drive, West Greens Road. Let me pull out here. So this is the northwest side of the Beltway, just north of Jersey Village. You're seeing at least golf ball sized to maybe even tennis ball sized hail. So it looks like this hail really started to blossom towards the east. So Aldine, even all the way into Aldine, maybe some pea-sized hail. The Heights might be seeing some pea-sized hail right now too. Same deal for Hawthorne Place. Okay, I'm going to put a track on these storms. But now we're at 115, and I think the downtown area is going to see impacts a little bit faster. So it looks like these storms are moving a little bit more quickly than they were before. Over the last hour, so we can actually do this together if you'll notice. Okay, yeah, you notice that hail core right there, that bright purple spot, instead of pushing towards the south, looks like it's staying pretty stagnant and moving more so towards the east. So Aldine, you'll be seeing some impacts from some hail here soon, maybe even pushing into the airport if it holds together. Otherwise, the main push of wind looks like it's going to get downtown with maybe 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts here in the next 20 to 30 minutes. But let me put a track on this. I'm gonna go see if there's any other. Yeah, lots marble-sized hail in the Champion Forest area. That's what I'm seeing from local storm report updates. Moving southeast. Okay. Oops. So there's a couple different severe thunderstorm warnings here, but let me talk about the downtown one first. So downtown, already seeing some heavy rain, the big push of wind, and the potential for some hail, I think gets to you in about 15 minutes. So this has sped up a little bit. So remember that warning I gave you that you might have until 2 o'clock, that's sped up. So south of Spring, we're looking at the North Freeway there at West Road, and you'll notice, again, the camera darkened very fast. We've got some downpours going on. The camera seeing lots of rain. Flashes of lightning on and off. And you can't really tell that the wind is super strong in this area, but we have received those wind reports at around 60 miles an hour. So I just saw our chief meteorologist, David Paul, pop in. So we'll be keeping a close eye on radar here together as these storms pass through. So these are moving again, I'd say south-southeast. They're not completely pushing south. They've got a little bit of a turn towards the southeast. So areas that are going to see impacts here, downtown in about 15 minutes. And now we just got a brand new update of the outages. We're at 85,000. So that jumped up in the last, 5-10 minutes from 11,000 to 85,000. So certainly seeing the effects of the strong straight line wind and some of the hail reports too. So Bel Air, you'll start to feel the strong push of wind here in the next 15 minutes or so. So that's 134 for when the storms pass towards you. Channel View by about 143. So they are moving really fast. Let's have a look at reflectivity to see what the wind is doing with these storms. So do we have any kind of bright spots of turquoise? We do. And so
real straight line windish, doesn't it?
Very straight line wind. So that's what our chief just said, that instead of seeing any couplets or any little areas of rotation, well, speaking of, looks like there's a few little couplets trying to do something, but the main bright spots are definitely straight line wind. But we won't let up on a couple of areas that could.
Yeah, that's suspicious there.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a couplet.
It doesn't. Maybe just a little bright spot.
Keep an eye on it.
Yeah. The bright areas to watch for the straight line wind impacts just east of the airport, 60 miles an hour. If I go in a little bit closer, Deer Ridge Estates, so Kingwood. If you look at that right there, 60 miles an hour. So, and that's exactly what the severe thunderstorm warning is advising or is suggesting is the threat with these storms. 60 mile an hour winds and the threat for hail. So let's look at the hail tracks now. And it's that same bullseye spot. Notice it really hasn't moved a whole lot. If anything, it's shifted just a little bit towards the east. So this isn't barreling south. It is, however, maintaining its strength. So if I put on the hail tracks over the last 2 hours, you'll notice how these kind of bubbled up there. So North Houston, West Road, into Veterans Memorial Drive, you're starting to see some of the hail push into your area. Anywhere between golf ball sized to tennis ball size hail is possible with some of these brighter spots along the northwest side of the Beltway. Back out towards radar. The wind again is going to be what knocks out the power, and the hail threat is what's going to give us the risk for property damage. However, if you're in any of these spots that are under the severe thunderstorm warning, especially spring to the airport, stay inside. It's not worth it to try and move anything. All right, now we're going to take us out to some video in Conroe showing some of the hail that's dropped down. So you notice some of those brighter spots that are kind of bouncing off the ground. I'd say that's anywhere between pea-sized to maybe some marble-sized hail. Yeah, it looks like marble-sized. Yeah, and that's coming in with swaths of rain, and you'll notice the rain is being pushed out like a sheet river. It looks like a big swath of white kind of erasing along the street. That's rain being pushed by some gusty wind. So that's exactly what we're seeing on radar, showing up on our cameras and our viewers that are sending in the storms passing through. So that was in Conroe. So the storm already cleared there, just a little bit of remnant rain. That's now in the Deco area. So Coralville to Jersey Village, that's where that video that you saw in Conroe is happening now. And some of that hail looks like it's dropping down into the loop. Let's see what the hail now looks like. There it is, another little couplet that's just formed, another little spot of hail. So this is going to be the East Tex Freeway at Jensen Drive. Radar indicated quarter-sized hail. And let me have a loop at this. How about over the last 30 minutes? And this does look like it's dropping south. So that could be something that impacts Foster Place, moves into Brookhaven, because you'll notice you see that that's pushing south versus the other cells just kind of staying stuck there. So hail and gusty wind moving into the loop now and going to be with us. Bush Airport reporting a wind gust at, was that 75 miles an hour? 75 mile an hour wind gusts reported at Bush. So that'll definitely be responsible for power outages. So like we talked about, these severe thunderstorm warnings continue to be perpetuated. So they're pushing towards the southeast along with these storms. A brand new severe thunderstorm warning that's been now extended to encompass all of the downtown area, pushing into Baytown, into League City. This lasts until 2 o'clock. So for the next 30 minutes, these storms are racing fast, but all the threats, all the impacts that we saw in Conroe, the 60, 70 mile an hour winds, the marble-sized hail, that continues to push into Baytown. And look at League City already starting to get some of that moisture moving in, but the main impacts from the hail and the gusty wind still up north. I'm going to remove the lightning so you can see the hail, and you can notice that by the bright purple spots. So bright purple spots, signal hail. I'm going to put that now. So the two hail spots that I'm watching right there. So Main Street and Fulton Street, just west of the East Tex Freeway, seeing a hail signature, and the larger, more considerable hail signature, North Houston to Jersey Village. So West Road to West Greens Road, Sam Houston Parkway, Veterans Memorial Drive, all those spots seeing some sizable hail. Wind looks like this right now. So there's a significant signature just north of the loop. So Airline Drive, 50 mile an hour winds as indicated by radar. The big airport recorded a 75 mile an hour wind gust. We just got a report from that, and they're still seeing some gusty wind there. So anywhere between 50 to 60 right now. And the brighter purple spot just east of there, so near Tascasita, some of that gusty wind showing up as a 60 to 70 mile an hour gust right now on radar. Here's the big picture of what the storms look like. And you'll notice we still have that severe thunderstorm warning for the spring area as the last of this hail is pushing out of here. Now the spring area is mainly seeing impacts from the rain and from the wind. The big hail core has dropped south of there, and it is pushing towards the downtown area. So there's Franklin Street, Emancipation Avenue, Canal Street, seeing that bright purple spot. Hail now shows us, yep, there's some hail there. So mainly along 5969 and East Tex Freeway. Some of this melts before reaching the ground, but radar is telling us it's golf ball sized, and that's what we have been watching these storms for their potential to bring us that. So that's staying put, downtown pushing south, take you back out to radar, and you'll notice this is what the line looked like over the last 3 hours. So very, very charged with lightning. I'll take off the lightning so you could see the heavy rain and some of the hail that it produced and still producing. So outside of the wind and the hail, I'm going to put on a track of how much rain we've had, because that's something to watch for too, especially given how much rain we've seen this spring season. So spring, the North Freeway has already gotten radar indicated 2 to 3 inches of rain in just the last 3 hours. So that is a substantial amount, and more rain continues to fall down even though that area has already seen the main impacts from the wind and the hail already passed through. Here's a loop over the last 3 hours, and now we're taking a live look. Wow, this is very reminiscent. These storms, once they pass through here, they really do a 180 with the forecast. We had a lot of sunshine earlier today, and that sunshine is, again, another ingredient that leads to these severe storms, the warmth and the humidity. Now these storms are passing through the Galleria area, and the skies have darkened. You saw that camera rattling around there, so that's the push of the wind. Not seeing any rain streaks just yet from this camera vantage point, but that's what we're going to see. We're going to see some heavy downpours that starts to blow a little bit more sideways because of the gusty wind and the big 180 change. So this is the Gulf Freeway looking back towards downtown, and the very similar view again. So darkened skies. You could see a bit of a glare from those headlights of the cars. That means we're seeing some good downpours. And that's a shot of the East Tex Bennington. It looks like it froze, but you could see again, those headlights are really fuzzy because of the heavy rain and the gusty wind from this line of storms that's pushing through. Going back out to radar now. So heavy rain pushing into the heights. Jersey Village, seeing that hail core drop south. More hail signatures for Allen Parkway, pushing into the downtown area. So that's a real close-up on Memorial Drive, Canal Street, Emancipation Avenue, even Westheimer, seeing some of those darker reds, and that's where our studio is, Chimney Rock and Westheimer, and you can see yeah, we're at least seeing some heavy rain and the gusty wind, and then a couple of these areas with the bright purple spots, seeing some radar indicated hail, and we've confirmed that hail with some of the viewer videos that we've seen. So saw reports of hail in Conroe, and that's where we saw radar pinpoint the hail. Now it's dropped south. So Jersey Village pushing from there south. So these storms are dropping south at about 40 miles an hour. So they're moving fairly quickly now. Katy area, you're starting to bubble up a bright purple spot. let's see what that looks like as far as dissecting the storm and seeing if there's hail. There's a signature there. It's not very significant, which is good. Maybe pea-sized to marble-sized hail. And actually, let me get inside some of these storms and see how tall they are, because if we do see that the storms are, let's say, 50, 60,000 feet in height, then they're definitely producing these larger hail cores. So let's slice this storm there for downtown. And if I'm able to flip this more on its sideway, I can get a good gauge. Yeah, so there it is. 50,000 feet at least for the height of this particular storm that's passing through downtown. And notice the bright purple, so the hail core is past 30,000 feet. So that would signal that we're seeing at least marble-sized hail for those bright purple spots showing up on radar. So Galena Park, another area that's now seeing those radar signatures of hail. So Gulf Crest, Harrisburg to Pasadena. Hail now showing us, yeah, maybe nickel-sized hail, but you'll notice the big focal point within the loop in downtown. So East Tex Freeway, Main Street, Fulton Street, Lockwood Drive. I wonder what the wind looks like there. And we just got a report that we have 146,000 power outages. So that goes to show you what happens when this line pushes through. We started this stream maybe 40 minutes ago. We had 11,000 outages as the storms passed through Huntsville. Now that they've passed through downtown, we're getting to 150,000 outages. We're coming close to that. So looking at the wind right now, you'll notice the bright spot is right over downtown, and there's more bright spots towards Magnolia Gardens, Sheldon, along 5969 and the East Tex Freeway. But downtown, where we're seeing some of that hail and the gusty wind, that's where I'm suspecting the power outages, where the power is being knocked out right now. So this is a loop over the last hour.
We're going to be on together.
Look at that sweeping motion of the very gusty straight line wind dropping down. And that's where we've got that severe thunderstorm warning, at least for the next 30 minutes. Our chief meteorologist, David Paul, now joining us.
Good afternoon, Kim. How you doing?
You know, Southeast Texas in the spring. We got to be prepared for these storms to pop up like they are now.
It's amazing how active this spring has been.
Yeah.
Definitely reflective of an El Nino spring for us. Not only do we have the typical clash of air masses in the springtime, but we have a little more active than normal jet stream pattern overhead with El Nino. We get these disturbances riding along that jet, and that is one of the contributors to this busy severe weather season that we're seeing and have seen for the past several weeks, not just in Houston and Southeast Texas, but also across the U.S. They've had a very busy tornado season in Tornado Alley. Let's just take a moment and we'll reset. This is the radar loop over the past hour. Line of thunderstorms, severe thunderstorms, now racing into the heart of Houston and Harris County. Basically, the leading edge is right along the Highway 5969 corridor, and it's racing southeast at about 35 to 40 miles an hour. So this is going to be, it's going to be in Galveston within an hour, hour and a half. Downtown's about 55 miles from the coast. So Galveston, coastal counties where it's not raining yet, but the sky is beginning to darken. If it is trash day, if you've got loose items outside, bring them in. Because we've had reports of winds 60, 65, 70, even I believe a 75-mile-an-hour gust at Bush or Continental Airport within the past hour. And that's the real threat with this line of storms. It's straight line wind damage. So far, no tornado warnings. We're getting reports of hail. I haven't seen any actual pictures or reports of anything over the top, but we've seen nickel-sized, pea-sized hail in many spots, and it's possible we could get a few hailstones to the size of golf balls with this type of a line of thunderstorms pushing in. So let's dig in a little bit. We'll show you where the leading edge of this is and how this is moving in. First of all, let me pause this. We'll show you where it is now. I'm going to remove the lightning. Just allows us to see in a little more high resolution. Yeah, TranStar. That's just near the downtown area. You can see it's heavy rain and thunder right now. And again, our severe thunderstorm warning now for the Houston Metroplex in effect until 2 o'clock. That's for at least the next 20 minutes, 25 minutes. You know, the threat with this right now is 1-inch diameter hail and perhaps winds gusting to near 70 miles an hour. And again, this is right in the heart of downtown, the hard hit spot by the derecho we had last week. This is not as strong as last week's derecho. It's just not as strong. It's not nearly as well organized. But in spots, we're still going to get wind gusts to 70, and that clearly can knock out power. I believe Kim reported about 150,000 without power right now. And with the heart of the storms moving through the heart of the Houston area right now, that number will probably go up. We'll probably end up with 200,000 plus without power at the peak of this. But we were at 1 million with the derecho last week. So that's just a comparison there. But it's certainly wind and rain and hail. And, you know, there's the leading edge of it. I have put a storm track on this. Let's look at that and we'll update this. The leading edge has moved just a bit. So here we are. So again, storms are racing southeast at about 35 to 40 miles an hour. That's in this direction to the south and east. So as this holds together, you know, in the path of the storm, Sugar Land here in just a couple of minutes, the leading edge is going to reach you. We're in downtown now. League City, Baytown, it's not far from you. It's about 20 minutes away from reaching you guys. League City reaching you at 212, Baytown at 152. You know, then it's going to race to the coast. So Texas City and Lamarck, right around the 230 timeline. And this is another live look from our TranStar camera. That's 288. I see 288 there. And you can see you don't want to be out in this. This is creating torrential rain. We're going to see at least minor ponding on the roadways. You see traffic really slowing down in that. So if you're home right now watching us, you got a loved one who's about to leave, just tell them to stay put for at least an hour or so in the Houston area until this moves on through, because it's really slowing down traffic. And you can see it is jiggling the camera a little bit there. Again, this is part of a severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 2 o'clock. The potential is for some gusts to get up to near 70 miles an hour with some of these storms, including the one moving through downtown. I think we're going to see small hail, nickel size to pea size with this. Those have been the reports so far as well. So again, the leading edge of this about to reach Sugar Land. It reaches at 140. We're 2 minutes from that. League City at 212, Texas City by 234, and then Galveston by 250, 3 o'clock. As this crosses over the bay side of the island, those winds can increase. So Galveston, you know, Bolivar Peninsula, Crystal Beach, Jamaica Beach, Indian Beach, be prepared for winds that could gust 60 to 70 miles an hour once this line comes across the island in about an hour's time from now. So that is where our storm is right now. What we'll do is clearing this off. Let's zoom in. Heaviest rain right now is just in downtown. Were you seeing the purple right in downtown and toward Pasadena? Let's just zoom in on both of these. This is where you're going to be seeing some pea to nickel size hail, you know, right there on the northeast side, Liberty Road, just in downtown and northeast of downtown, Fulton Street, Cavalcade, Lyons Avenue, Lockwood Drive on the north and east side of downtown. And in downtown, that purple indicates a high likelihood of pea to nickel sized hail. Nickel size is big enough to put some dents in your car. Okay, and this camera shot you're looking at from livetrains.com, near downtown, near the shipyard and where the trains bring all the goods in and out of the bay, in and out of the port. That is blinding rain, and it is dark. And again, winds could gust to 70 in that. So that, what you're looking right there, the train tracks near downtown, that's this purple you're looking at right here. That's what it looks like on radar. That's what it looks like in real time outside. Blinding rain. Small hail. I'm not seeing any big hailstones in that, but you're going to see nickel to pea size hail to to dime size hail with that particular downpour. So that's the one near Lyons Avenue, Lockwood, I-10 East, and the East 6 Freeway. So that's the Galleria camera. It is absolutely blinding rain in the Galleria area. Let's just see what that looks like. Yeah, and here we are. That is very heavy. There's Westheimer. That's right where we are in the Galleria area, and you see the heavy rain coming down there as well. So you can stay in. You don't want to get out in this. This is another area where we likely have pea to marble to nickel size hail. 225 the East Freeway where it meets the 610 loop on the east side. So Lawndale Street getting in on that heavy rain and small hail. Galveston Road, just south and east of the 610 loop down to Ellington Field. You're going to see this heavy rain, blinding rain and small hail. Red Bluff Road getting in on the small hail as well. Galena Park, your neighborhood, getting in on that heavy rain. There's Jacinto City just outside of Galena Park. You're seeing heavy rain there as well. So those are two spots where we are likely seeing at least pea to nickel-sized hail. Here's a third spot, the purple area. This is just going to be southeast of the Beltway, 8 and I-45. And you see Space Center Boulevard at El Camino Real. Heavy rain, the purple indicating the likelihood of pea to nickel-sized hail. Middlebrook Road, Bay Area Boulevard, you guys are getting in. Bay Area Boulevard and Space Center Boulevard. Right there at the crux of that, we're getting some small hail and very, very heavy rain. This is Memorial Drive, not far from downtown, and it is just blinding rain. Traffic's moving, but you don't want to be in this if you don't have to. So just stay inside as the wind is blowing that rain. Looks like almost sideways on that shot. Again, the threat from this line of severe thunderstorms for the most part is straight line wind damage. We've had a report at Bush as just blew through of a wind gust at the airport to 75 miles an hour. So when we had the derecho blowing through, we had wind gusting over 100 miles an hour, 100 to 125 miles an hour, with tornadic activity as well. This is not, it's not nearly as strong as that, but it is strong enough, these thunderstorm winds, to knock over a garbage can, to knock over some limbs. We've got more than 100,000 people without power. And so as this comes through your neighborhood, that's what you can expect. Straight line winds, 50, 60, maybe gusting to 70, and small hail. Oh, and street ponding as well, and blinding rain as it moves through. I'll put this in motion for a moment. You can see how this is racing southeast at about 40 to 45 miles an hour. So this is moving through the heart of Houston, the 59 corridor right now. Sugar Land, Richmond, Rosenberg, you guys are getting in on a heavy thunderstorm. Now, technically right now, Sugar Land, Richmond, you're not in a severe thunderstorm warning, but that's some very heavy rain racing and building right over Fort Bend County right now. So Richmond, Rosenberg, Sugar Land, Missouri City, heads up. That heavy rain is moving in your direction right now. It's a live picture there. That's I-45 equipment. Yeah, it looks like traffic is stopped. So that looks like, I believe that is a low spot. And there may be some high water. There may be some ponding there. That's I-45 north at Quitman. I-45 north at Quitman. So traffic has stopped there. I see a lot of flashing lights. Stay off the roads right now if you can. Just do not start a new trip outside in Houston right now. Just stay home until this heavy line of severe thunderstorms pushes through. I believe that is a low spot. There may be a lot of high water there. The rainfall rates are better than 3 to 4 inches per hour in the heaviest stuff. And what that will do is it will overwhelm the gutters. It'll overwhelm the primary drainage, and that will cause very quickly ponding on roadways, and that may be why traffic has come to a stop right there. So that is I-45 north at Quitman. That's right in the heart of the heavy rain. Traffic has come to a standstill. I can see the headlights stretching back quite a ways. That is going to create a mess, not just on I-45, but every road that feeds into it there. So I-45 north equipment, the road is shut down. It looks like because of high water on the roadways. I'm not exactly sure. There may be an accident there. I see a lot of flashing lights. Once again, the radar shows a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for southeast Harris County, Houston, Mont Belvieu to Baytown, Brazoria County, Alvin to Pearland and Friendswood. One more time. Okay, we're getting a report of quarter-size hail near the downtown area in these heavier thunderstorms that are pushing through. So that's good information. So now we know these purple areas have the potential to not just produce pea to nickel-size hail, but we're getting reports of quarter-size hail. Quarter-size hail. Let's just go to where that quarter-size hail is most. And I see there's a live look at Hobby Airport as the leading edge pushes in toward Hobby Airport. Very heavy rain wind moving sideways, blowing the rain sideways, lightning and thunder. Again, just stay home right now. If you got someone who's out running an errand, tell them to stay put, give them a text, let them know. The rain is heavy enough to have stopped traffic on some of the major freeways. I-45 North Freeway equipment is stopped right now. We're getting hail up to quarter size. That is big enough to put a dent in your car. I know this because my truck is covered in little hail dents from a hailstorm about 10 years ago that had quarter size hail. So that's what we've got here. Galena Park, you're getting some of the heaviest rain right now. 610 southeast side at the 225 juncture, Lawndale Street to Red Bluff Road. Galena Park area, Federal Road, heavy rain. That includes a good chance for hail, nickel to quarter size. Get a little closer view of this. There's Lawndale Street where it parallels the 225. There's Harrisburg Boulevard getting heavy rain and hail right now. Galena Park, good afternoon. That's you, your neighborhood, seeing heavy rain and possibly hail up to quarter size. Okay, this is Katy. That is a live camera in the Katy area. I see traffic's moving. It's heavy rain. As we back out and look at the radar, Katy is on the back edge of the worst of it. So Katy, you're getting heavy rain, but your severe threat is going to quickly come to an end, but you're still getting very heavy rain. Katy, you're not in a severe thunderstorm warning right now, but that is very heavy rain, and just, it's going to pond the roadways. It's going to snarl traffic. You don't want to get out in this Katy area, Memorial area. You can see where this is heading. Katy right down I-10 and into the Memorial area, right up the Energy Corridor, West Park Tollway, heading inbound on the West Park Tollway. Neighborhoods here in Memorial, you're in that severe thunderstorm warning with heavy wind and rain and possibly some small hail. Just stay home. If you got a loved one, again, who's about to try to dash out of the grocery store and drive home in this, tell them to stay put. Give it an hour. Let this move on through here. Now, in an hour, this is going to be on the coast, Galveston, Bolivar Peninsula. It's racing in your direction. We'll put this in motion. You can see it racing southeast. It's also doing some development as well. And Richmond, Rosenberg, I'm looking at you right now. Storms here are increasing in intensity rapidly. That is most likely putting out at least, P to nickel-size hail. That Southwest Freeway at Patton Road. There's Rosenberg. Patton Road, Aston Stade Road, Rosenberg. Just to the west of you, you've got a little hail shaft there. Okay, so right now we're going to add our television audience to this broadcast here in just a moment. So bear with me for a moment. We're going to reset, bring in our television audience. And Chance, how long do you want me to go? How long on the air? Okay. Well, just let me know when we. Okay, and I'm getting an update now on the power outages. 235,000 now without power as this line of thunderstorms races through the heart of the Houston area. We've had wind reports up to 75 miles an hour. Other reports of 60 to 65 to 70 to 75 miles an hour. That one came at the airport about a half an hour ago. What we've got is a line of severe thunderstorms racing through the heart of southeast Texas and Houston right now. It's racing southeast at about 40. But again, individual straight line wind gusts out of these storms have exceeded 70 miles an hour at times. And because of that, 240,000 are without power right now. The line is also producing a hail threat. We just a moment ago near downtown had a report of hail up to the size of quarters. Quarter-size hail will definitely put a dent in your car, and it can also hurt your person. So as we've been suggesting, if you can stay home, or if you've got a loved one, a family member, a friend who's out running an errand and they're going to try to run home in this, just tell them to stay put. Give them a text, stay put. Just turn on your television, leave it on. We'll walk you through this as this line of severe thunderstorms races across the Houston area. This line of storms, it was born earlier this morning up in the Dallas area, raced southeast into the hill country, and is now racing into the area. Okay, so in just a little bit, we're going to bring in our TV audience. Just let me know when we're going to bring them in. Okay. Well, good afternoon, everybody. A line of severe thunderstorms is racing across the heart of Houston and southeast Texas right now. A couple of things. It is producing winds, straight line winds. We've had reports of winds gusting 70 to 75 miles an hour. That has knocked out power to about 240,000 people in the southeast Texas, Houston area. That number has been growing rapidly over the past 30 minutes as the line has raced through. Kim Castro, we've also heard of large hail up to quarter size, and we're getting some more damage reports in.
We are. We just got a report from the Magnolia Fire Department that's tracking an active situation of homes collapsing and people trapped inside, all indicative of the straight line wind damage with these gusts at 75 miles an hour and a hail threat that's been around. And just look at the Willowbrook neighborhood, so just northwest of the Beltway. The rain that's coming down, so this is actual totals in people's neighborhoods. This is part of our neighborhood network. Indigo Terrace, 2 inches of gauge rain totals. Prairie Trail, 2 and more than a quarter. And Pagan Circuit, same deal there. We're under this severe threat today, at least until 4 o'clock. So these storms are pushing towards the coastline over the next hour, but we'll still have trailing rain behind that. So until 4 o'clock, there's the threat for the wind, the hail, and the potential of some ponding, street flooding, especially in those areas that are getting 2 inches of rain. We've seen some hail cores that have produced either nickel to quarter-sized hail. We have the threat of some hailstones getting up to golf ball size, and the wind is what's creating the biggest damage right now with power outages. Over 235,000 people right now without power because of the straight line impact from this line of storms that developed this afternoon. I want to give this same warning in Spanish. If you live along the coastline, si es que vive cerca de la costa, estamos bajo riesgo de tormentas severas hasta las 4 de la tarde. Podremos ver granizo grande de 1 hasta 2 pulgadas, ráfagas que nos traen impactos desde 65 hasta 85 millas por hora. Podremos perder la luz nuevamente. Tenemos 235,000 personas que han perdido la luz debido a estas tormentas. So we're still tracking the threat of these strong storms, David, at least for the next hour as these storms continue to race towards the coastline. Severe thunderstorm warnings, including League City and the Bay. We've seen them pass the downtown area. We've seen them bring impacts to Conroe with video of these massive hail cores, which, by the way, still showing up in some of our neighborhoods from Jersey Village pushing down south, and it all started up north, David. I know you're keeping a close eye on the wind and the hail as these storms continue to sink south at around 40 miles an hour. You've got the specific neighborhoods and when the impacts are going to reach them.
Yeah, we've got a fresh storm track on that. Your rain total is actually interesting, 2 to 3 inches of rain. That came down in a hurry.
Very fast.
And Kim, that would explain why we've got some spots where the traffic is either at a standstill or moving really slowly because there's high water spots. And if we can get that live shot, I-45 North Freeway at Quitman, let's see if traffic is still stopped there. In the meantime, okay, this is our latest storm track right now. So I've put on the leading edge of this our line of thunderstorms racing southeast, now entering northern Brazoria County, northern Galveston County. This is going to reach the Dickinson area by 2:08, so that's in about 10-15 minutes from now. Leading edge reaches Texas City by 2:23, Galveston by 2:38, Oyster Creek by 2:56. So this is very quickly going to be exiting downtown, racing down the Gulf Freeway now, and pushing into the coastal counties. As this leading edge reaches you, we've seen wind gusts, straight line wind gusts, 50, 60, 70, up to 75 miles an hour. We've got some damage reports. And that is strong enough to knock out power. At last check, 240,000 of us now have lost power again. I'm just checking with my house, and we've lost power now as well. So power outages are widespread across the area. Severe thunderstorm warning, the last one was technically in effect until 2 o'clock. It looks like they have reissued a new one as well. I'm going to bring this up. Yeah, a new one has been issued basically for the same area, southeast Harris County, including still a part of the Houston area, but to Pasadena, Galena Park, Baytown, League City, and now that includes everybody all the way down to the Galveston coast. That's in effect until 245. That's the new one, now in effect until 245. And again, we're expecting the threats with this to be straight line wind damage. Winds could gust to 70 miles an hour. 1 inch diameter hail. So you're talking about diameter hail about a quarter size. That is big enough to cause damage to your vehicle, to the metal of your vehicle. That can put dents in it. That can also hurt your person. So it's just not safe to be out in. So if you have a loved one, if you have friends or relatives who are out right now wanting to run home in this, you want to run out in this, let's just stay home right now. It's a lot better than getting out in this. That's a live shot. That's from the roof of Space Center Houston, NASA, down in the NASA area. That's what it looks like as the storm looms and pushes toward your area. And again, this has a history now of producing heavy rain and hail. And I do want to look, let's take an update now and see if we can see any more hail cores. That's really the area where the radar returns are purple. We're still seeing some of that. Give me that one more time. Yeah, the power outage number continues to rise. We're now up from 240 to 250,000 without power across the greater Houston area. Galena Park, Hobby Airport area, Allendale, Montrose Road where it crosses I-45, just outside the 610 loop. Then Highway 225, Pasadena Freeway to Deer Park. The purple area is showing a good chance for getting at least pea to nickel-sized hail coming down in your neighborhood right now. Zoom out, another spot where we're likely seeing at least small hail, and it could be larger. Again, we had reports of hail up to 1/4, the size of a quarter, an inch in diameter, right near downtown a little bit ago. But the purple area, Space Center Boulevard, right there where it crosses El Dorado Boulevard, Space Center Houston and El Dorado and Bay Area Boulevard. Right in there, you're getting very heavy rain. This is going to put ponding on the roadway, so you don't want to go to try to get out and drive in this. And this dramatic shot here from the roof of the NASA area. This is from Space Center Houston, and that blinding rain. You can see that rain shaft just underneath the main cloud deck, just creating that grayish, greenish color, which is indicative of not only very heavy rain, rainfall rates of 3-4 inches per hour, but also usually when it's that color, it does include some hail. Again, the threat with this, as this races towards Space Center Houston and the Bay Area and the NASA Clear Lake area, is straight line wind damage. We've gotten reports of some damage. We've had wind gusts to 70 and above. There's Hobby Airport, where again, we're getting very heavy rain, could be seeing some small hail there, but it's mostly small hail, but the straight line wind damage is the greatest threat. Let me update the storm track. We'll update the timing on this as everything races southeast at about 40 miles an hour. So there's the leading edge. Again, the camera you're looking at is from Hobby Airport. Racing southeast at 35 to 40. Leading edge just about to reach Alvin. Reaches you here in just about now. Texas City by 219, Galveston by 234. Brazos Port area, Clute, Lake Jackson by 256. Quintana by 259. So this is very quickly now entering into Galveston County, Brazoria County, and racing southeast. The line itself at 40, but individual wind gusts in that line have gusted to 70. So again, right now, Galveston, Bolivar Peninsula, at the moment, you've got a little bit of time to go out and bring in loose items. If you've got lawn furniture out, some plastic furniture, if you have garbage cans out, if it's garbage day, get them in if you can, because they can certainly be blown around and then they become projectiles as the wind is expected to gust very strongly, 50, 60, 70 mile an hour wind gusts possible as it heads across Galveston. And again, the leading edge right now estimated to get to Galveston at 234. So you want to make sure everything's in and you're inside and in a safe spot in your home or business as this races through. So far, no tornado warnings, just severe thunderstorm warnings. It's been all straight line wind. And in fact, we can take a look at what velocity is showing. And this is now the leading edge reaching right near the radar site. all of that looks linear. All of that looks very linear, which means I'm not seeing rotation with it. That's just north of downtown. So that would be, yeah, okay, yeah, I-45 at North Street. Look how slow traffic is moving there. Again, it was I-45 north at Quitman where we had the traffic come to a standstill. I think there's high water on the roadway there. I-45 just north of downtown. Earlier, Kim Castro was giving us an update on a collapsed building in the Magnolia area. Kim, are you there, and what's the latest on this?
Yeah, we've got brand new images. I was told by my producer. There they are. Wow. Complete collapse. It looks like homes that were under construction, new builds, it looks like, in the Magnolia area that just don't have the foundation to withstand the wind gusts that we just saw from this line that pushed through. So it looks like a couple of houses that were new builds, at least 3 of them from what I can tell. One of them completely reduced to the pile of sticks that you see, and then another one tilted on its side. It looks like the one next to it also lost its foundation.
Yeah.
From those wind gusts. I've got wind gusts over the last 3 hours, David, and
oh, look at Bush.
There's that 75-mile-an-hour gust that we're talking about at Bush. Now the Magnolia area, so just west of there, very likely that it saw something very similar to that. Again, this line at least produced 50, 60-mile-an-hour wind gust at Hobby Airport, Bush Airport, 75-mile-an-hour wind gust in just the last 3 hours. This all started in Huntsville. That was our first severe thunderstorm warning that dropped in from Huntsville, and eventually these storms sagged south. So no surprise that we saw impacts in the Magnolia area that collapsed these homes. Hopefully we're working to get some updates. I know that the fire department said that there were potentially some people trapped inside, so we'll have to continue to monitor their progress in those homes that have been knocked out because of the wind. 75 miles an hour at Bush, and we also got a report in the Willowbrook area of high water rescues because of the amount of heavy rain that dropped down in a very short amount of time. I mean, I just started tracking these storms maybe 2 hours ago. Within just the last hour, we've seen these rain gauges. So these are actually in people's homes. This is not radar estimated. This is what was actually picked up from the rain gauges. In Indigo Trace Court, more than 2 inches and a quarter of rain, more than 2.5 inches for Prairie Trail. So these neighborhoods here in Willowbrook saw not only the impacts of that gusty wind, the threat of the hail that we've been talking about with the severe storm potential, but also the very, very fast dumping down of torrential rain that leads to dangerous situations on the roads, like high water spots and the high water spots rescues that we've been seeing. So David, a very consolidated amount of time and a lot of damage that we were tracking just in the last hour.
Well, stay home if you can. Just stay home. And to your point, Kim, so those rain totals we're seeing right there with our weather network, again, those are actual rain totals, not radar indicated. But what happens, and you're pointing that out there in the Willowbrook area, you know, in Northwest Harris County, the roads, you got a road, but then those drainage ditches right next to the road, you know, they're so deep.
Right.
They're just so deep.
Right.
And you get high water, you try to make a turn into a parking lot, and if you don't negotiate that correctly and you get it wrong, you could end up in one of those, you know, it's a 6-foot deep ditch. And it can be very dangerous, and it's so easy. You know, I've done stuff like that before.
Get swept up, yeah.
Just so easy to make that mistake. So if you can stay home, if you got a loved one who's trying to get in and out of work or running an errand, and they just tell them to stay put for about an hour and get home a lot safer than it is out there right now. You were looking at wind gusts as well. I'm looking at that too on radar. These are winds just above the surface on the leading edge of this line of weather. I've got several spots here, 47 mile an hour, 56 mile an hour, 26 mile an hour. So again, the winds gusting to near 60. in some of those spots right now. And one other thing that I'm seeing with this, and I'll show you, we'll rock this back and forth, is that this is indeed a linear, this is a straight line wind threat. You can see this line stretches right here. That's the leading edge of the wind. The wind's racing southeast at about, the whole line's moving southeast at 40, individual wind gusts gusting 50, 60, 70 miles an hour in that line as it races southeast toward the coastline. So that is what is going on. And again, I'll rock this back and forth. You can see on the radar, there's that line sprawling out. Now the leading edge, where is it right now? It's right here. There's the leading edge. And everything racing southeast. So this is going to be on top of you, Texas City, Lamarck, Galveston, very quickly in the next 15, 20, 25 minutes. Live picture from Space Center Houston. That is dramatic. You do not want to be out in that. So everybody in NASA Clear Lake, that's what it looks like outside. Just stay put. Just stay home, stay off the roads. Severe thunderstorm warning continues in effect for your area. And look at the camera shaking. Okay, just hold on that for a little bit. Lightning, thunder, blinding rain. You're going to see ponding on roadways. Again, that's NASA Clear Lake, Galveston County, League City, that's racing in your direction as well. Kemah, that's what's coming in your direction right now. So, yeah, there we go. And there's our high water rescue that Kim was talking about right there. It's in the Willowbrook area. That's right out there near Willowbrook Mall in the Willowbrook area. You can see there's Cutton Road. How many times have I driven on Cutton Road? Cutton Road, right there at Bourgeois Drive. There's your high water rescue. And it's right there at a corner. And I bet you that somebody, it can be so hard to see how deep these drainage ditches are next to the road. And it's so easy to make a mistake and drive into one of those ditches. So if you can stay off the road and just keep something like that, it's the safest thing to do for the next hour or so. Let me update the storm track on this. We know where the leading edge of the wind is right now. I'll leave this up. Okay. I'm going to leave this up. This again, there's the leading edge of it right there, racing southeast. Bear with me. I'm going to redraw this. Leading edge right there. Okay, so again, this is going to be in Galveston by 2:35. So you've got 20 minutes to get loose items up. Galveston, folks in Crystal Beach, High Island, Jamaica Beach, Indian Beach, all the communities up and down Galveston Island and the Bolivar Peninsula. You've got about 20 minutes until the leading edge of this wind and rain races through. And we know we've seen damaging wind gusts up to 70 miles an hour. Had a 75 mile an hour gust at Bush or Continental as it raced through there. So again, this reaches, Texas City. This is on you in 10 minutes. Galveston 3:35, Freeport, Brazosport area by 2:48. Where are we looking at? That's Kemah? Yeah, okay, there's Kemah Boardwalk. So the leading edge is just about to inundate the Kemah Boardwalk. On that live shot there, the left-hand side is north, and that's where that's coming in north to south, racing across the north side and west side of Galveston Bay right now. And over the bay, you can expect winds to gust easily 70 miles an hour over that open water where there's not the friction of the houses and the trees to slow it down. So again, I've got a storm track on this. The leading edge of this line of thunderstorms racing toward Angleton right now, racing toward Alvin. This reaches Santa Fe here right about now. Texas City, it's on you in 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes. So if you're in the Texas City area, you need to go ahead and move inside and just let it blow through. Stay inside, let it blow through, stay inside safely. Galveston downtown by 2:35, Freeport by 2:45, Brazosport 2:48 as what there is of this. Races southeast. You can see the leading edge right there. You can see how this is all straight line wind. And there is some hail. Let's go back to that and let's get an update and see if we've got any more hail cores. Give the radar just a moment to update here. And again, about 250. Right, so there's I-45 north. So if you're coming out of downtown on I-45, that's what you're looking at. Whole lot of high water where the rainfall rate was so fast, 2 to 3 to 4 inches per hour, and it's overwhelmed the gutters. It's overwhelmed the primary drainage. And so you've got high water in many spots, especially coming out of downtown. That's the North Freeway, at North Street, and you are going to be very much slowed down, and it's not safe. And if you're in downtown, just stay off the road, stay home. Give this time to clear out. Just give it an hour, and then everybody gets home safely from downtown. But again, this is yet to reach the coastal area. So Galveston, Texas City, you guys want to take cover right now as that line of thunderstorms is racing your direction. Again, severe thunderstorm warning for this in effect till 2:45 in the afternoon. So at least another half hour. Where the purple is where we're seeing the greatest hail threat. We've had reports of up to quarter-size hail as this moved through downtown. Yeah. So just getting an update, we were at 250,000 people without power a little bit ago. We're up to more than 280,000 now without power. So we're creeping in on 300,000 without power as this line of thunderstorms races through. Hail, again, is the secondary threat. It's the straight line wind damage that is by far the greatest threat. This is where we're getting hail. So again, Gulf Freeway, this is near NASA Clear Lake, Bay Area Boulevard, Space Center Houston, blinding rain. Right in there, and likely hail anywhere from pea to nickel to quarter size. Dickinson, San Leon, there you are, and that is racing in your direction at about 40 miles an hour. Racing southeast at about 40. So in San Leon, Dickinson, get your loose items up now and get inside and take cover. Bay Cliff, just get inside and take cover right now. You're looking at a live picture at Space Center Houston as the storms have arrived there in the NASA Clear Lake area. We'll zoom out. Storms continue to race southeast, again at about 40 miles an hour. So Texas City, there you are, Bayou Vista, Santa Fe, everybody here, it's time to just go ahead and take cover as this is almost on you. You do not want to be on the causeway, by the way, or you do not want to be on that causeway here in about 20 minutes as that line of thunderstorms is racing across. Alvin, you're... So Spring Branch is delaying dismissal. Spring Branch ISD, parents, Spring Branch ISD is delaying dismissals. What they're doing is just keeping the kids inside, just keeping them safe. They've got a shelter in place issued, Spring Branch ISD, so they're going to be delayed. Nobody needs to rush. Just let this blow on through. It's going to take about another hour to get this to begin to settle down and clear out. Let's just keep everybody safe. Racing southeast at about 40 miles an hour. What I'll do is update the storm track. So there's the leading edge. Boy, it is just Galveston, Crystal Beach, Ballard Peninsula. It is bearing down on you guys. You're looking at pictures from the North Sam Houston Parkway there as we update the storm track. Okay. So to our TV audience, we're going to wrap here on the TV side. We're going to continue this weather coverage on our digital platforms. You can go to our Facebook page. You can go to KHOU.com. You can turn on KHOU 11 Plus, and we'll continue our live weather coverage there right now. Pushing through central Galveston County right now. Santa Fe, it's on you right now. Lamarck, it reaches you by 226. Texas City by 228. Galveston 242, Bay Harbor 251. And in that line of severe thunderstorms, the greatest threat is straight line wind damage. We're getting winds gusting 50, 60 to 70 miles an hour. We've got reports of damage. We saw that some homes that are under construction did collapse in the winds. So if you live near an area, you've got homes near you that are under construction, they're framed up, but there's no walls around it, we know that they are in peril of perhaps coming down if we get one of those wind gusts to 60 or 70 miles an hour. That can happen with this type of storm. I haven't had any reports of any, completed homes being damaged like that, but homes under construction are at risk from this line of storms. Again, the leading edge just reaching Santa Fe, League City, Manville, Shore Acres. San Leon, it's just reaching you as well. So time to take cover now and let this blow through. It's going to be on here very quickly. Santa Fe 220, Lamarck 226, Texas City 228, the Bolivar Peninsula 237, and Galveston around 240. Kim Castro, been monitoring winds, rainfall, and damage reports. How are we doing, Kim?
Very significant rainfall, wind gust, and hailstones, hail cores that we've been tracking throughout the last 2 hours. Over the last 3, this is the most significant wind gust report out of Bush Airport, 75 miles an hour. I'm suspecting something similar to that happened in Magnolia, which is why we saw those new build homes, the new construction zones, collapsing. At least 3 homes it looked like that happened to, but sustained gusts at 50 to 60 miles an hour as this line continues to push out of Harris County closer towards the coastline. In addition to that, we're watching the storm reports kind of filtering in now. More of these are going to trickle in after the storm is done and people are able to safely report the type of damage that they've seen. But certainly looking at wind gusts that sustain strength at around 60 miles an hour where they started into where they're ending. So there's a thunderstorm wind gust at the Huntsville Airport that recorded 67 miles an hour. In the Cold Spring area, another gust recorded at close to 60 miles an hour. Then again, we saw Bush Airport, and then we saw Hobby Airport too with those 60 to 75 mile an hour wind gusts. In addition to that, we are tracking the severe thunderstorm warnings for producing the potential of larger hail. We at least saw pea-sized, marble-sized, even quarter-sized hail from these storms that first started off in Huntsville, pushed into Conroe. We saw video from Conroe neighborhoods with hail that then dropped down closer towards Jersey Village, and we even tracked some hail cores closer to downtown. What we're looking at now is the line of storms pushing away from the city, moving into the Gulf Freeway, so League City to Galveston Island here in the next 30 to 45 minutes. Also tracking abundant lightning. So regardless of if you feel very strong wind or you see the hail, you should be inside no matter what because of all the lightning that we've got associated with this line of storms that's passing through. Over the last 10 minutes, we've had 670 lightning strikes. And the differentiation between negative and positive, in case this is the first time you're seeing that, positive strikes are 10 times stronger than the negative ones because they come from the top of the thunderstorm cell. So think about these storms that get to 40,000, 50,000, 60,000 feet in height. If a lightning bolt is coming from that high up in our sky, it has a lot more potency and it has the potential to blow out transformers and to cause any damage, which is why we want you to be inside. So count for positive strikes, double the amount of negative strikes. Again, we're taking a look at the North Freeway at North Street and still seeing the high water, those ambulance and fire trucks passing through there, obviously going to tend to folks that are stuck, but stalled out cars because of this heavy rain that came down. I'll show you some of the rain gauges too. But right now, still tracking this active severe thunderstorm warning that lasts until 2:45. So for the next 20 minutes, still looking at the threat of 70 mile an hour wind gusts and still looking at the threat of hail. So there's the track. Texas City getting to you right now, so it's no time to secure anything outside. It's time to secure yourself and your family members. So just hunker down for a little bit as the storms pass through. The Bolivar Peninsula, it'll get to you in about 10 to 15 minutes, and then Galveston Island by around 2:36. So the storms are moving pretty fast out of here, southeast at 40 miles an hour. But they've done a lot of damage in a very short amount of time. So because this heavy rain came down so quickly, we're seeing some pretty major impacts to vehicles that are stalled out. We've seen high water rescues in the Willowbrook area. We've seen those collapsed homes in the Magnolia area. Wow, this is a brand new look at our neighborhood weather network that allows us a street view at how much rain specific neighborhoods have gotten. So this isn't radar indicated. These are actual rain gauges in people's homes. So as this line pushed through, which was really fast, 20, 30 minutes, it dumped down anywhere between 2 to 3 inches of rain for the Willowbrook area. And that's where the high water rescues have been taking place. Over the last 3 hours, radar indicated totals for the remainder of the loop in the Beltway. Same deal there, 2 to 3 inches, pretty widespread from the Heights towards downtown, pushing into Hobby Airport, and now again progressing towards the Gulf Freeway, League City, towards Galveston Island. So tracking that severe thunderstorm warning, blinding lightning, and then where I see those peaks of purple there, that's where we've got those hail cores. The severe weather threat, I think, is only going to last us maybe another hour or so. Once the line passes through to the coastline, we'll just be watching remnant rain, but still looking at the threat of those high water spots, especially in the areas that are going to watch the water recede slowly. For the time being, Galveston Island, say that again, sorry? This is just in for my producer. At least a dozen voting centers have lost power. So this is having major impacts today that are widespread to homes, to the polling centers. At least 200, what was the last count? 280,000 people? 286,000 people now without power, and it was because of that wind. So the wind sustained itself from where this line started, which was in Huntsville. It recorded 67-mile-an-hour winds there, towards the airport 75, and it continues to have the threat of 70 miles an hour wind as it passes through the coastline. So here's your Spanish quick update for the risk that we have ongoing for the next hour. Tenemos el riesgo de tormentas severas que están avanzando hacia la costa. Entonces, si es que vive en League City hasta la isla de Galveston, asegúrese que está adentro de su hogar porque tenemos el riesgo de granizo dentro de 1 hasta 2 pulgadas. También tenemos el riesgo de unas ráfagas fuertes que están causando que perdamos electricidad. Ahorita tenemos 286,000 personas que han perdido su electricidad. Es debido a esas ráfagas de 65 hasta 85 millas por hora. Tenemos que estar vigilando las condiciones del tiempo hasta las 4 de la tarde. Creo que estas tormentas avanzan fuera de la isla ya dentro de 20-30 minutos, pero todavía tendremos un poco de lluvia, todavía tendremos esas localidades que vieron que esa agua se avanzó causando que tengamos inundaciones aisladas en las calles. Entonces todavía vigilaremos eso hasta las 4 de la tarde. Chief Meteorologist David Paul with us here. I know we've been kind of refreshing the track. We're just waiting out the storm. It's luckily been moving fast, luckily and unluckily, because of course the fast motion of the storm is what brought us the straight line wind impact. But we just have to watch that, I'd say, for the next 15-20 minutes, and then the worst of it is going away?
Should be off the coast, the worst of it, in about a half an hour,
yeah.
But it's going to be a very bumpy ride on the coast here as it pushes through. Now first, are getting reports of Spring ISD reporting that many of their campuses in Spring ISD, they're going to have delayed release. Everything is on kind of a standstill. They just want to keep the kids safe. They've got kids indoors, and so just expect, if you're waiting on kids to get home from school, buses, or you're going to try to go pick them up, everything is delayed in a lot of spots. Spring ISD reporting many delays in getting the kids out for the end. Okay, and that's Spring ISD. Okay, and HISD is now canceling all after-school activities. So if your son or daughter has practice after school, it's been canceled. That is Houston Independent School District canceling all after-school activities today. Just want to get everybody home safe. The leading edge of the damaging wind is heading for the coast. In fact, it's racing for the coast at about 40 miles an hour. And we've noticed in the past hour, the line, that's an hour ago, look at how the line has gotten really well organized. The leading edge, very tightly organized. That indicates we are probably seeing wind gusts of 60 and 70 in some of these storms right along the leading edge. So we'll put a fresh track on it. There's the leading edge. and racing off the coast to the southeast at about 40 miles an hour. So this then reaches Texas City here by 2:29, which is just right about now. Texas City, you need to be taking cover. You're looking at a live picture from Kima, by the way. Sweeney by 2:39, Galveston 2:44. Clute 2:50, so the Brazosport area 2:50. Surfside Beach by 3:04. And as these winds come across that little bit of the bay side of the island, there's no friction over that water, so those winds tend to increase. So I would expect, Galveston, downtown Galveston, Jamaica Beach, to Indian Beach, to all the way down to the west end of Galveston Island to Surfside. As those winds come across the bay, they're going to accelerate. You can see wind gusts to 70 and above as they race into Galveston and across the Bolivar Peninsula. You can see now, I'll remove the storm track and let's zoom in. So this is getting very close to Galveston. Again, these storms just about to cross the causeway into Galveston. They're in San Leon now, just about to reach across to the and now we're gone from 286 to 313,000 now without power. Across the the heart of Houston, southeast Texas. Now 313,000 without power. Jamaica Beach, there you are. Here's the leading edge. I'll race across Jamaica Beach. If you got loose items out, get them in now and get yourself in now and take cover. That's the leading edge of the storm system racing in your direction. And we can put a very tight storm track on this. So Texas City 228, Bayou Vista 232, Tiki Island reaches you by 236, Galveston 242, Jamaica Beach 245, Sea Isle by 250 as the leading edge reaches toward the heart of the Galveston area complex. But let's slide down the coast a little bit. So this leading edge of the line has very strong wind as well. You can see there is a severe thunderstorm warning that includes Ashwood and West Columbia. Leading edge just here, Angleton to Ashwood, again racing toward the coast, about 40 miles an hour. So Angleton, it's basically reaching you right now. Sweeney by 237, Lake Jackson by 244. Freeport area 256, Freeport, Brazosport, Clute, you guys 256, 258 arrival time. And Spring Branch is lifting their shelter in place, so they're going to let the kiddos move there in Spring Branch where the rain is now letting up. The worst of it is pushed through and the rain is now letting up. Spring Branch has now lifted their shelter in place. Bryan Beach, the leading edge reaches you guys by 3:05. And by far the greatest threat with this is straight line wind damage. We saw a group of houses under construction on the northwest side that were brought down. These were just the frame was up. You get a framed house, all that wind going through it, all those frame members create drag, and it's not surprising that those can get knocked down in strong thunderstorm winds. Let's zoom out and let me give you the big picture and put this in motion for you. There's the leading edge. Now you can see it's exiting Harris County. That's where it was an hour ago. Now racing toward the coast. So an hour ago, and then here we are now racing toward the coast at about 40 miles an hour. No tornado warnings so far. I wouldn't be surprised if we had one, but we have not seen that. By far the setup with this is straight line wind damage. Straight line winds 50, 60, 70, perhaps up to 75 or 80. We had a report of a wind gust at Bush-Cottonville Airport, officially measured at 75 miles an hour as this raced through the north side of Harris County, and there's no reason to think it can't produce that type of wind as it crosses over southern Galveston County and the coast of Galveston and the Bolivar Peninsula and down to Surfside and the Brazosport area as this races southeast at about 40. Again, I'll rock this back and forth. That's where the storms were an hour ago and now racing to the coast, just about to reach. And this is Seabrook. Saltwater Recon giving us a live pic of the Seabrook area where the storms are just about to reach you. Heavy rain, gusty wind. You can expect that as the storms race into the Seabrook area. One more time. And don't forget, we've got lots of cloud to ground lightning with this as well. In fact, just for a moment, I'll turn the lightning back on. It's taken a moment to catch up. A lot of lightning strikes. There's a tremendous amount of lightning coming off this system as it races into southeast Texas. So aside from the wind and the hail, lightning is enough to keep everybody inside until this blows through the coast. You can see Alvin getting very heavy rain. That is potentially a hail core right there in Alvin, the purple area. We have had reports in those purple areas of hail, anywhere from pea to nickel to quarter size. Quarter size hail's about the time when it begins to be big enough to cause damage to vehicles. There you are, Alvin. So right there on County Road 181, FM 1462 in Alvin, just south of Highway 6. Potentially you've got hail there anywhere from pea to nickel to quarter size. We did have hailstones as big as quarters reported just south of downtown about 40 minutes ago as the line of storms was racing through. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect for the entire Galveston area, Galveston Bay Complex, northeast Brazoria County. That until 2:45. We'll have to wait until 2:45 and see if they update that. And I can give you an update on that right now. Here's where we stand with our severe thunderstorm warning again, in effect till 2:45, including Brazoria, Fort Bend, Galveston, Harris County, as these storms race southeast toward the coast. 1-inch hail is possible. That's quarter size. That can do damage to vehicles. We could see winds gust to 70 miles an hour. Those are straight line winds. So far, that's all we've seen with this entire stormy afternoon is our straight line winds. We've not had any tornadoes reported or warned for. At last check, we've got 313,000 without power. Remember, we went to about 1 million without power at one point during the derecho last week. This one is not as strong. And I'm not sure if this is yet going to be defined as a derecho. There are some key elements to that. First of all, it has to last for hundreds of miles. And I don't think we have that yet, but we certainly have strong thunderstorm straight line winds, 50, 60, 70 miles an hour racing through. People affected by that severe thunderstorm warning, almost 1 million residents impacted by that. So that's our latest severe thunderstorm warning. And again, we'll zoom in because it's the coast. This is where you guys really need to go ahead and be taking cover now. Galveston, Texas City, Lamarck, Hitchcock. You see the leading edge of the storms just bearing down on you. That is racing right down the Gulf Freeway at about 40 miles an hour. So Bayou Vista, Lamarck, Hitchcock, Galveston, leading edge, going to race across the causeway and across the island here very shortly. Galveston is going to reach you in about 10 minutes. So make sure that you're inside, away from windows, interior room, and that's the safest place to be as this comes through. We could see winds that gust to 70 or above. If you live next to an area or some construction where the framed home is up, it's a frame, but they haven't finished it out with walls. Earlier on the northwest side, we saw damage to framed homes under construction. They came down, they collapsed. So that is a threat with this line of thunderstorms as it races through. Again, this reaches Galveston in about 8 to 10 minutes. So you need to go ahead and be inside. Texas City, it's on you now. Bayou Vista, it's basically on you now. Lamarck, it's getting you guys right now with heavy wind and rain. And those are pictures from, this was in northwest Harris County. This is in the Magnolia area. So as the storm blew through Magnolia, southwest Montgomery County, framed homes under construction came down in the wind. Now, a framed home without walls is going to come down much easier than a home that has walls. Every one of those framing units allows the wind to grab onto it, creates a lot of drag, and it can be pulled down. So it's not overly surprising to see that come down in winds that are gusting to 70, 80 miles an hour, which is what we had. So if you are near a framed home in the Galveston area, that is the threat as these thunderstorms race through. Let's zoom out, let's reset, put a storm track on this as we look at this line of thunderstorms race toward the Galveston and Bolivar and Upper Texas coast. Again, I'll rock this back and forth. Here's where we were an hour ago. And there's where we are now, an hour ago, and then storms racing toward the coast. And that line has really gotten well organized, which is a sign that it's got some damaging straight line wind with it. Give you an updated storm track. Just go right down the leading edge. In Galveston, it's basically on you here in 10 minutes. Clute 253, Clute in the Brazosport area, 305, 250 to 3 o'clock. Lake Jackson, Clute, Bryan Beach by 311. I do want to take a closer look at Surfside. So here's the leading edge of these storms as they push through Angleton right now in West Columbia, racing to the coast. Yeah, Jones Creek by 301, Brazosport by 308. Angleton, it's on you right now. There you are, Bryan Beach. You're getting some rain out ahead of that. And there's the leading edge. So now it's the coastal counties. Look how things have improved now across Harris County. We're letting up. So now, if you got to get out, you can get out and go, Harris County. It's the line of storms. There it is an hour ago. Now it's gone ahead and raced through. I don't see any redevelopment back behind it. That's good. So again, that's our severe thunderstorm warning, which includes Brazoria and Galveston County until 2:45. The storm is about 10 minutes from downtown Galveston. 1-inch hail and 70-mile-an-hour wind, straight-line wind gusts are the greatest threat. We've had reports of quarter-size hail near downtown, so we know the storms are possible of creating hail of that size. That can do damage. And again, racing southeast at about 40 miles an hour. And this is the other severe thunderstorm warned storm near New Gulf, including Brazoria, Fort Bend, Matagorda, and Wharton counties. Again, it's 1-inch hail possible here and 60-mile-an-hour straight-line wind gusts possible with that one. And we have seen with these radar returns in the purple area, that's where we're getting the hail. So New Gulf, Bowling, Kane Junction, that's where we have the hail shafts, the hail potential. And we can track that through the warned area. There's your hail shaft moving southeast. If that holds together, it reaches Ashwood by 246, Old Ocean by 254, West Columbia by 256, and Sweeney by 3 o'clock. That is the strongest part of this thunderstorm. Again, there it is racing to the southeast at 40. In the path of that storm, Danziger, Ashwood, Old Ocean, and Sweeney. Reaching Sweeney here in the next 20 minutes. We've seen rain totals 2.5 to 3 inches. We've got lots of slow traffic in downtown Houston, I-45 North coming out of downtown. There's high water spots on that area. We've got very slow moving traffic there. Nothing tornadic, but straight-line wind and hail, the greatest threat. Let's take a look at what Future Track is saying is going to happen over the next hour or two. And it does move this stuff. Notice how it pushes the bulk of it off the coast by 4 o'clock. In fact, before 4 o'clock. By 3:30, the bulk of that is pushed through Galveston. So we've got about another half hour, 45 minutes of the coastline threat, and then it's going to race off and the threat will come to an end. You know, that's by 5:30. By 5:30, the storms are long gone. So this is going to clear out for the heart of the evening rush, but there will be some high water spots left over. Let's see what happens overnight. We're quiet. That's 5:30 a.m. tomorrow. And aside from a slight chance for a scattered shower, I think I see yeah. Okay, the chief of the Magnolia Fire Department's on the phone with me. Chief, what can you tell me about that house under construction that collapsed up there, and how are you guys doing up there in Magnolia?
Yes, sir. So approximately an hour ago, we had, as most of Southeast Houston had, quite the wind and storm come through. We had approximately 3 homes that were under construction, one fully collapsed, another partially, and another one's partially. We had some workers on site, notified 911 emergency that they had a potential victim trapped on scene. So the Magnolia Fire Department responded, arrived on location, did in fact have collapsed buildings, began to search for victims and gather information to figure out what we need to do next. We asked for assistance from the Woodlands Fire Department, Conroe Fire Department, North Montgomery County Fire Department, along with the Montgomery County Hospital District and Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. So they're all on scene with us, helping to investigate and determine if we can locate any victims potentially in these collapsed structures.
Yeah, I would imagine, of course, under construction, you may have a crew or 2 out there. Other than the collapsed homes under construction in Magnolia, what other issues are you guys facing up there in the wake of these storms?
Yes, sir. High call volume. A lot of call volume right now throughout the county. Stuff like this comes through. Obviously, there's a lot of 911 emergencies, whether it be anything from utility issues to structure fires, medical emergencies, even lake rescues that occur. And so the Montgomery County Emergency Service as in a whole has received just a large amount of call volumes, which thankfully all the units in Montgomery County are working together and helping one another out, making sure we're providing service to all these incidents.
All right, that's Chief Adam Volgamont with the Montgomery County Fire Department. Thank you for the Magnolia Fire Department. Adam, thank you.
Units can return to normal operation for fire calls on normal radio channels.
Thank you so much for the update. I'm going to let you get back to work. Hopefully things are going to calm down up there now that the storms have passed through. Again, Captain Adam Volgamont with the Magnolia Fire Department up there giving us an update on the collapsed homes under construction up there. They don't know if they have anybody trapped in that rubble, but they've got themselves and other departments coming in to look for the potential for trapped victims up there. Again, we'll get an update on that as we head later into the afternoon. The leading edge of these storms that have done this damage are now racing toward the coast. They'll be on the coast, Galveston here, basically now. They're just about to cross over the bay side of Galveston Island. That's a live look of the Gulf side of Galveston Island, Murdoch's and Pleasure Pier there. Radar showing that the leading edge of the storms has now reaching now the bay side of Galveston Island. Texas City, it's on you. Jamaica Beach, you're getting into some rain, but the real leading edge of the wind is still just inland. And bear with me, we're going to update this. The leading edge just inland of you guys. And this is going to be reaching you, Galveston, basically right about now. The leading edge is heading in your direction right about now. So make sure you're hunkered down. Interior room away from windows. First floor of your home or business is the safest place to be whenever you've got severe thunderstorms or tornadic thunderstorms, which so far these have not been. The Bay City is going to reach you here basically right about now. Again, Galveston, it's just about to cross over the bay side of Galveston Island. We'll rock this for you. That's where the storms were an hour ago and now racing to the coastline, and a couple of storms building up there near Jones Creek, and that's right near Surfside Beach, getting a heavy shower and thunderstorm. And cloud to ground lightning is an issue with this as well. We've had lots and lots of lightning. That's a live look there at Moody Gardens, and you can see we're looking back. Off in the distance is Galveston Bay, the bay side of Galveston Island, and then the causeway is there. And so the line of storms is just about to reach the causeway, and we know we're getting gusts to 50, 60, 70 miles an hour with this. So you do not want to be getting out and heading toward the causeway right now. That is not a safe place to be. Yeah, we just had an update on the severe thunderstorm warning. That has been updated and extended for the coast until 3:30. And a closer look at this shows it includes Galveston and then west, all the way down the west side of Galveston Island, all the way to Brazosport, all the way down to Brazosport. And I'll give you an update on this. There we go. There's our new thunderstorm warning. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect now, a new one until 3:30, including basically downtown Galveston all the way down to the causeway and then down to Brazosport and Surfside Beach. That's until 3:30. 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and hail just under an inch are possible. Kim Castro, you were looking at rain totals a little bit ago. We've seen wind gusts as well, up to 70 and above. We're seeing high water spots on roadways. Traffic is snarled in many spots. If you can just stay off the roads, especially on the coast there where those storms are bearing down, that's the best thing to do.
Exactly, and you gave us a good update on the severe thunderstorm warning in English, so I want to go ahead and give that in Spanish in case we have any bilingual households, in case any of our parents, grandparents prefer this information in Spanish as we're watching the last of these storms push through. Entonces, estamos monitoreando unas tormentas severas que van avanzando hacia la costa. Hay dos áreas que estamos vigilando, una que ya no tiene ese aviso por tormenta severa, pero todavía está mostrando señales de granizo y de unas tormentas y chubascos fuertes. Entonces avanza a la área de Brazoria dentro de unos 30-45 minutos a las 3:22 y hacia la área de Lake Jackson a las 3:40. Están viendo una imagen de Moody Gardens. So this is a snapshot of Moody Gardens right now, and the skies have darkened there. They're gearing up for the heavy rain, the gusty wind, and the severe thunderstorm warning. So that's the first batch that's now under a special weather statement. So it doesn't have a warning, but it just has a watchful eye because it's just under the criteria for a severe thunderstorm warning. 40-mile-an-hour wind gust, about 1/4 of an inch of hail from New Gulf down to Brazosport, down to Bay City. That's going to be the threat there. Entonces la área de New Gulf tiene un aviso por unas tormentas que están un poco más fuertes, de ráfagas de 40 millas por hora y un granizo pequeño. Now the severe thunderstorm warning that we're tracking pushing towards Galveston and towards Jamaica Beach, this one has been extended until 3:30. Tenemos un aviso de tormenta severa que va avanzando hacia la isla de Galveston y hacia la comunidad de Jamaica Beach. Ese aviso se ha extendido hasta las 3:30 de la tarde por ráfagas fuertes de 60 millas por hora y por el potencial de ver granizo. So we'll be watching this cell as it continues to race towards the coastline, providing the threat for some gusty wind and some isolated hail. So right now, the main brunt of the strong wind is still about maybe 10 minutes away from Galveston Island. I think right now we're seeing the heavy rain. However, the main gust of wind still lagging behind there by a couple of minutes. But this is going to be something that we'll monitor as it continues to push out of the way, which is why, even though we're already seeing rain and we're already seeing some of the impacts, we'll be watching this through the duration of the severe thunderstorm warning, which is for another 40 minutes or so, because behind the main gust of wind and the main threat for some isolated hailstones comes the residual wrap up of the rain and the residual impacts from the rain. Here's a look at the hail cores over the last 2 hours. So we saw quite a bit of development, especially right around 1:30 to 2 o'clock from downtown traveling down the Gulf Freeway. Alvin also saw some radar indicated hail. We'll wait and watch to see what sort of storm reports we get after the storm. But right now we're watching some of the storm reports from our viewers coming in. So this is a hail report from Houston. Do we know exactly what part? Any street locators? But wow, what I did manage to see from the hailstone in the person's hand is that we saw, first of all, I could see some of the bouncing there. That looks like quarter-sized hail that kind of coagulated. So when I see those small hailstones all bunched up together, it means that that thunderstorm was pretty strong and the hailstone stayed suspended in the thunderstorm for a considerable amount of time that it got to be larger than a quarter. That looks like a full dollar-sized hailstone, golf ball sized. It's got a pretty good diameter, and this is a look at the cypress hail, the cypress wood. Okay, cypress wood in Houston with the heavy rain, the hail bouncing off the windshield from that car, bouncing off the ground. And so that means that the hail reports that we're looking at on our radar models, verified by the viewer video of folks all around the city of Houston seeing that hail kind of traveling from the downtown area down along the Gulf Freeway. Here's a look at the storms now. So still tracking a lot of lightning, and they'll leave behind storm reports. So right now, the majority of the storm reports come by way of the wind. I'll wait and see if we see any other storm reports coming in later to see if we got any damage from the hail, because hail that gets up to that size, quarter sized, a golf ball size, can certainly have implications when it comes to our cars or any other areas that may have been hit by those hailstones. So Huntsville recorded 67-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Then we saw Cold Springs record about 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. We talked about the wind gust that was recorded at the airport, which is 75 miles an hour. And right now we're just watching and waiting for these storms to pass. I want to talk about the hail threat and why we saw some of these storms kind of building on these hailstones. So we went from pea-sized hail to nickel-sized hail to quarter-sized hail, then eventually looked like a golf ball-sized hail with some of the videos that we're seeing sent in by our viewers. When we have storms that are really strong because of the heat and the humidity that we have, the hailstone stays up in the thunderstorm for a prolonged period of time. The updraft, the kind of the push of the fuel of the storms, keeps coating it with ice until eventually it does become so heavy that it kind of overtakes the updraft, and then we get those bigger hailstones to form. También les voy a explicar en español por qué vimos ese riesgo de ese granizo que era un poco más grande de lo que estamos acostumbrados. Es porque teníamos bastante aire caliente y húmedo que causa que esa corriente ascienda ese granizo y se suspenda en nuestra nube por más tiempo. Se acumulan más capas de hielo y ya que llega a un punto que está bien pesado, se baja y nos da esos granizos que tienen tamaño un poco más grande como de una pelota de golf. So that's something that we noticed today. What else did we notice? Some issues on the streets. So our localized street flooding. We saw some high water spots rescues in the Willowbrook area. And here's the latest gauge rain. So from the neighborhoods, we can tap into how much rain these specific streets got. Coolshire Lane got 3 inches of rain. Prairie Trail got almost 3 inches of rain. And so this amount of rain in a very quick time span is what led to the problems out on the roadways, not to mention, of course, the wind. We talked about the impacts that had for power outages. We talked about the impacts it had for the Magnolia neighborhood that had the new construction zone and 3 structures that were impacted, 1 completely collapsing for the new build homes, and then 2 that looked like they had some pretty significant damage to their foundation. And the rain totals extended all along the loop and the Beltway, at least a large portion of the north and the east side too, with radar totals of rain anywhere between 2 to 3 inches of rain. So that's where we are right now, satellite and radar. We've got 1 active severe thunderstorm warning. We've got the watchful eye for some flood potential too, because of the heavy rain that's coming in a quick amount of time. And then for the Brazosport area, for Magnolia and Brazoria, that box that you see there in white, that's a special weather statement. It means we're still seeing similar impacts to what Galveston's experiencing, just on a lesser scale. So instead of 60-mile-an-hour winds that Galveston has a threat to see, Magnolia and a good chunk of Brazoria will see gusts at around 40 miles an hour. Instead of a slightly larger hail up to about 1 inch in diameter, there's a threat for quarter-sized hail, so pea-sized hail. So it's just a little bit reduced when you see that white box versus the yellow box, that severe thunderstorm warning that we'll keep an eye on until 3:30. And David, do you mind putting a track on this storm? Yeah, to see.
Let's get a fresh track on it. It looks like the leading edge is just headed right toward the coast right now.
Perfect.
So the leading edge is just about to move off. You're on 1. Here we go.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, it looks like.
And that is our last severe thunderstorm warning right now, in effect until 3:30. It's going to be from downtown to the west side of Galveston Island.
Yeah, and it looks like you could see a little bit of that magenta color, and that's why there's the threat of some smaller hail, but still hail nonetheless.
Yeah, that looks like maybe the pea to nickel size at worst.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Well, you know, the leading edge is off the coast.
Off the coast.
There it is. You know,
okay.
It's arrived.
It's arrived. It's happening now. We'll just have to watch it. That warning goes for another 30 minutes, and so everything behind there still has to clear out. So we still have to clear out that heavy rain. We still have to clear out that lightning, but that's pretty much it. Brazosport area out of here in the next 5 minutes. That's a live look at Moody Gardens. You'll notice the storm's overhead, so the skies are dark.
Clouds are moving toward us, so they're moving from the north.
Yes.
So that tells us that the leading edge of the wind is now pushed offshore.
There you go.
Yeah, so it looks like the worst is over for Galveston.
There you go. Okay, well that's great. We'll just watch that kind of subside, still try to stay inside for the next 30 minutes or so. No one likes to drive in the rain at all if you can avoid it, especially these areas are notorious. The Gulf Freeway is notorious for having issues, especially when you see those bright reds, rainfall rates of 2 to even 3 inches of rain per hour. That's heavy rain, and that'll pond and that'll create issues. And then, yeah, just that little speck of magenta there signaling the potential of some pea-sized hail. And then still looking at a lot of lightning. So the good news is this will lighten up over the last 30 minutes. That's when the severe thunderstorm warning gets removed. And then I'd say, for the next hour or so, we'll watch the last of that lightning move out of the way. But there's a count over the last 10 minutes, number of lightning strikes, 221. So that's gone down significantly from the last 30 minutes. We had like 700 or so. So there's an improvement, although I will point out the number of positive strikes still supersedes the number of negative strikes by a substantial amount, and so that means the strikes that are coming down, they're pretty strong. So stay inside, make it a quiet. The good news is that it looks like most of this is out of here by the time most of us hit the road.
Yeah, it's 3 o'clock.
Right.
So this is exiting in time for an evening commute. But to your point, right now, especially on the coast, just stay inside if you can for another hour. We've got pockets of heavy rain. The worst of the wind has now pushed off the coast, so it looks like our severe threat is ending rapidly. It's really come to an end. It was really along that leading edge we were seeing the damaging wind gusts, Kim, and now that's pushed offshore. So for the moment, line of thunderstorms push to the coast. I would say just stay in, let it rain out. Coast is going to push all the way off here in the next hour, and then we can get out and get going again. Still some high water spots on some of the roads. We will continue to keep an eye on this. If we get any more significant severe weather, we'll break back in here on the digital side and all our digital platforms and here on KHOU.com. And of course, we have a complete live update on the everything that happened with the storm, including the current power outages, which are 317,000 right now.
That's horrible. Yikes.
Yeah, that's a lot of folks. So we'll keep an eye